In the heart of eastern Nigeria, where the red earth stains the soles of your feet and the air carries songs from the past, there lived a girl named Amara. Her name meant grace, but life had not been gracious to her. Her father died in a lorry accident when she was 5, leaving her mother to raise Amara and her 2 elder brothers alone. Theirs was a home held together not by walls, but by will. Each morning, Amara woke before the sun. She swept the compound, fetched water from the distant stream, and helped her mother fry okra to sell at the market. Her feet, always bare, wore a permanent coat of dust. Yet those same dusty feet carried her through her days with quiet strength. Amara was a bright girl, too bright for the village school she couldn't attend because her family couldn't afford the fees. But that didn't stop her. Every day, she would sit outside the classroom window, listening, scribbling notes on scraps of paper she scavenged from the rubbish pit behind the school. The teachers, at first annoyed, came to admire her persistence. One gave her an old textbook. Another slipped her chalk to practice on stones. Her mother, Mama Ifeoma, tried to hide her sadness behind tired smiles. She had once dreamed of becoming a seamstress in the city, but life had sewn a different pattern for her. Still, she taught Amara everything: how to read the sky before rain, how to make soup with nothing but bones and love, and how to carry herself with pride, even in rags. Then came the rainy season, and with it, the stranger. His name was Obinna. He arrived in an old SUV, its tires caked with the mud of many towns. He was quiet, kind, and curious. The elders said he was the son of a wealthy Lagos tycoon who had turned his back on the city. Some whispered he was in hiding. Others thought he was mad. Obinna never explained. He simply smiled and helped where he could, fixing broken boreholes, buying yams without haggling, listening more than he spoke. Obinna first noticed Amara during a market quarrel. She was defending an old woman who had been shortchanged by a pepper seller. Her voice was calm but firm, her eyes bright with fire. He watched her from a distance for days, struck by the way she helped others without expecting anything in return. Slowly, gently, they began to speak. He asked questions about the village, about her dreams, about the stars. She answered shyly at first, then with more boldness. She told him of her dream to become a teacher, to build a real school in the village where no child had to sit outside the window. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Obinna said, "I'm not looking for someone rich. I'm looking for someone real." Amara laughed softly, looking down at her cracked heels. "Then you are in the wrong place, because all I have is dust on my feet. And that dust," he said, "is more valuable than gold." Their friendship blossomed into love, though many in the village did not understand. When Obinna asked for her hand in marriage, the village buzzed with disbelief. A poor girl like Amara. What did she have to offer a man who drove a car and wore wristwatches? The truth came out only after the wedding. Obinna was not just rich. He was a hidden billionaire, the heir to a conglomerate that spanned real estate, oil, and tech. He had left the city to find someone who loved him for who he was, not what he owned. Amara had passed that test without even knowing it existed. He brought her to Lagos, not to a flat, but to a mansion. There were chandeliers, chefs, and a garden big enough to get lost in. But Amara never let the wealth change her heart. She asked Obinna to help her build schools. Real schools. Starting with her village. They returned 1 year later. Where once there was an abandoned shack, now stood the Amara Ifeoma Girls Academy. Free education. Books. Uniforms. And teachers trained to see potential, not poverty. Every year after that, Amara came back to the village in the same wrapper she had worn the day Obinna proposed. She would sit under the mango tree and tell her story to the children with bare feet and big dreams. "Never forget the dust," she would say. "It teaches you how to rise." Years passed, and the Amara Ifeoma Girls Academy grew into a beacon of hope, drawing students from neighboring villages. Amara began organizing training programs for teachers and offering scholarships for girls to attend university. She and Obinna started a foundation, the Dust Rising Initiative, which built libraries and offered adult education to women who had once believed learning was not for them. The couple remained humble, often traveling to each new project site in the same old SUV that first brought Obinna into Amara's life. One evening, as the sun once again dipped behind the hills of her childhood, Amara watched a group of young girls run barefoot across the schoolyard. Their laughter echoed into the sky. Beside her, Obinna took her hand. "Look at what you've built." "We built it," she said with a smile. "And it's only the beginning." And so the story continued, not just in whispered tales under mango trees, but in classrooms full of promise, in libraries stacked with dreams, and in the steps of every girl who dared to rise from the dust. Because the girl with dust on her feet had become a queen, not of riches, but of impact. Moral lesson. True worth is not found in riches or appearances but in character, kindness, and resilience. Those who remain humble, work hard, and stay true to their dreams can rise above their circumstances and inspire transformation in others. Love that values the soul over status creates legacies that last for generations.